Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Pokemon, the podcast where we talk about everything and anything Pokemon, even if it's like 3 months after the fact. I miss you guys. I'm sorry I have been gone for so long. Listen, a lot of personal things have happened over the past few months. I can give you like the two biggest highlights. I'm not going to go into all the big details because, this is not the podcast for that. But number one, COVID really sucks. Had COVID for a few weeks. Not the best experience in the world. Number two, I'm a doctor now. Not a medical doctor, let's be clear. I do have my doctorate, so I did give my final presentation. I just had to do a few wrap-ups for my paper, and then I do my graduation ceremony on July 9th, and then that's it. And I'm pretty much done. I have my doctorate degree, so yay. It's a big stress reliever for sure, and another one less thing to have to worry about per se. But yeah, I know it's been 3 months, almost 4 months maybe. I think my last recording was the end of April. Is that right? April, yeah, May, June. So it's been a long time. I deeply apologize. I have some things I have to catch up here on the podcast. And there's a correction I have to make. I mentioned someone's name in the last episode that I recorded, and it ended up being wrong. Not that I had the name wrong. It was just a miscommunication thing, which we'll get that sorted out. And so if you're listening, hey man, thanks for listening, and sorry for waiting for so long to get to this episode. So much has happened in the Pokemon world, like tons and tons of things have happened, and this weekend is the North American International Championships. I think by the time this episode gets uploaded, we probably would have finished or still like nearing the end of day one. So it's a weekend filled of obviously the big tournament for both TCG and VGC, as well as Pokemon Go, and even Pokken Tournament, because unfortunately one of the news headlines over the past few months is that Pokken Tournament is not going to be any more part of the Pokemon Play program, which two things. Number one, they're just done with it, right? They're not supporting it, and it always has a low turnout. There's not a lot of people that go in and play Pokken or even support Pokken. Not a lot of big following, so that's one reason. That's probably the most likely reason, right? If it's not getting a lot of views or crowds or whatever, then there's no point in supporting that. Or number two, there's a sequel? Maybe. I don't know. We haven't heard an announcement from them yet, but there could possibly be a sequel in the works. There's like a 1% possibility that could be the case, but who knows? We haven't gotten like a full Pokemon Direct in the last few months. Except of course the Scarlet and Violet thing, but that wasn't even a direct. That was just a trailer. That's what this main episode is talking about. We're gonna talk about Scarlet and Violet stuff, but unfortunately, Pokken Tournament's not going to be a thing anymore after this World Championships this year. So it's sad. It's sad to see that go, because it is a good game. I think it's a good game. I think it's a neat experience. And like I would be all for number two. I definitely would like to see that happen. But what else has happened? I have a couple episodes in mind of what I want to talk about. So, I will eventually catch up on some things here and there and then be kind of current. I'm not going to go through every single big thing. Pokemon Go, I don't even know how much Pokemon Go stuff I even want to cover on this podcast anymore, because there's just so much to happen. Maybe I'll do like the monthly event updates or stuff like that. We'll see. But I know there is one, maybe two particular Pokemon Go topics I do want to talk about. So that'll be another episode. And then what was the other one I had in mind? I'll remember it, because I just remember there being two major things that I wanted to bring up. Oh, I remember now. But I'll leave it in suspense, because we have to talk about Scarlet and Violet. It's been a month maybe, that we've gotten that last trailer, and it was only a 3-minute trailer, 3.5 minute or something. Not a whole lot of information, just more questions than anything, right? So I don't even know where we want to start. Do we want to start Pokemon, location, some features, legendaries? We can knock the first thing out of the way. November 18th, that's the release date for it. You can actually start pre-ordering in a lot of places. I know. So the big thing, right? The double pack, you can pre-order that on GameStop. You can pre-order it on the Pokemon Center website, and then you can also pre-order it at Target. I think it's on their listing. Unfortunately, Amazon, you can't pre-order the double pack, but you can pre-order the individual ones, which I guess so. Sure. I don't know if they're not getting double pack, or maybe they're sorting out exclusives for their double pack, because as of right now, the only exclusive bonus offer you get is that on the Pokemon Center website, if you pre-order from them, you get a backpack, an in-game backpack with it, which is not much of a pre-order bonus, but I guess anything's better than nothing. I'm sure as we get closer and closer to the release date, GameStop, Amazon, not necessarily Walmart. I don't think Walmart really had any exclusives. Did they for Sword and Shield? Did they? I can't remember. But Target, we'll get their pre-order bonuses in, and you guys can decide from there. But I would just still lock in a pre-order somewhere so that way you at least know that it's there, and then just kind of start saving up. If you're going to buy both, that's $120. If you're unless you're like me now, which I don't know which part I want to phrase first, but I have to buy 4 copies of the game. So the too long didn't read, I guess, version of this is that we're a Nintendo family now. Like me, my wife, my kids, like we all have Nintendo Switches now. They've been playing a lot of games like Splatoon and Mario Odyssey and things like that. And we recently just got Strikers, and we've been playing that together as a family. And so we've just been playing together now, and it's great being a Nintendo family. And so with Scarlet and Violet having 4-player co-op, stumbling on my words there. It's gonna be crazy. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what it's gonna be, but I'm excited. I mean, if it's gonna be like a big grand adventure, yeah, I want everyone in on it. Let's get everyone a copy and then just get in on the whole journey, on the catching experience. So I'm curious what that's gonna look like. But so I lost my train of thought already. So we're sticking to Scarlet and Violet. November 18th release. You got your pre-order bonuses. But yeah, let's go ahead and touch on that concept really quick, because there's not really a whole lot to go off of. We were shown that you could have 4-player co-op in this, which I don't know what exactly that looks like though, because it's funny. They mentioned like, oh, everyone comes together for your adventure, but then they all went their separate ways and they showed off 4 different habitats, and I'm like, wait, so are we actually like on this adventure together or what? Like, this doesn't make sense. Now, if anything, it's probably like the wild area, right? Everyone's just gathering. You can do some camping stuff, catch together, I guess. But I don't know, like what part of that is fun, or if you're like on the same server. Like, I'm trying to think MMO maybe, where everyone's on the same server, and then you don't have to necessarily adventure together, but you're still in the same world together, which it baffles my mind. Like, the structure of this game is just so out there. Like, I don't think anyone can really pinpoint what this game is going to be like, because the second thing to bring up, it is completely open world, and they stated that it won't be dictated by the story. So you have freedom, literal freedom, to go anywhere and do anything that you would like. Now, assuming that they stick to what we would believe, or what we kind of put as a standard now as to what open world is. That's so hard to wrap my head around, because I never minded the linear story. Here's your 8 gyms, go through this little adventure, here's a little bit of story, and now you can do this, and then after that you can roam around. That's fine. Like, I don't mind going through the story. I enjoy some parts of the story. In fact, I'm not gonna lie, there's not a storyline that I really hated. If anything, Black and White probably just didn't catch my interest the most, but I like that I'm going on this adventure and I'm interacting with these other people, and I have kind of like this sort of mini purpose, and I'm training also to become like a Pokemon master. Like, as cliche as it been, if it's not broken, why fix it? Because it's been working for all these generations so far. And just to get into an experience of, you don't have to necessarily follow a linear story. I hope that is an option though, where I can follow a linear story and not like, well, here's this open world of Pokemon, go figure out and do some stuff, and then you'll stumble upon missions as you go. Like, I don't know, my anxiety just like goes through the roof, because like, oh, I don't want to miss out on this, I don't want to miss out on that. So to have like a complete open world Pokemon adventure, like, it's just, I really hope the next presentation we get for Scarlet and Violet really hones in on all the details that we need to really understand what this means and how we go about it. So I expect the next Pokemon Presents to be like a very lengthy one, really giving us the nitty gritty of the game. But yeah, man, that's just crazy to think. Open world, not dictated by any story. A lot of people I know are happy about that because we kind of got that a little bit in Pokemon Legends Arceus, not like the full extent, because you still had to like go in between. You had to go back and forth between Jubilife's village before you can go to like the next map or whatever. But still, when you were in those areas, those are huge open areas to, well, huge, I guess, depending on how you want to view it, but they are fairly big open areas to kind of roam around in. And so I'm curious what the size of this map is going to be if it's open adventure, and how like the transitions from zones and habitats are going to be like, because that'll just, oh man, every time I think about this game and I start talking about it, it just gets me so excited. Like Scarlet and Violet, I feel like is going to be like the best Pokemon game we've gotten in such a long time. I mean, not to say like none of the Pokemon games beforehand were any good, because I do love Sword and Shield. I love Sword and Shield. I loved X and Y, but like, you know, they're not like my number one favorite games. Like Sword and Shield is probably very close. My number one is probably going to be Pokemon Red and Blue, and that's because of nostalgia sakes. Like that's my starter. Like that's where I started Pokemon. Number two, I mean, I do love Gold and Silver, but Sword and Shield is probably top three. If it's not number two, it's definitely number three then. But just X and Y was fine. I gotta be honest though, I never really fully finished X and Y. I do remember most of the story, but I don't think I've gotten through all the way like through the Elite Four and stuff. So there are Pokemon games I do love, and I do like the story. It's just there are certain parts of these games, either I was busy at the time or it just didn't get my interest long enough to be able to finish the whole thing all the way through. But Scarlet and Violet gets me the most excited for what it's going to offer, even though we know very little of it, and so I'm all for that. Okay, next thing to mention about Scarlet and Violet that was in that last trailer: two professors. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't remember their names off the top of my head, and I don't feel like messing up with my phone right now to try to look them up because it might cut off this recording. But we have two professors that are very much themed past and future. One of them, the girl professor, is very like primitive looking, has like the sort of loincloth like clothes attire to her with a coat on, and then we have the future one, which is very was it like outlined by like lights, neon lights, so to speak, kind of Tron looking, sort of a little bit, very proper. So they're version exclusives though. The girl you get in, I believe, Scarlet, and the guy you get in Violet. But what's weird is that we've never had professors that don't have like tree names, right? You have oak, you have birch, so on and so forth. But this one, they're not tree names. And now what's funny is that there was someone posted a tweet about like, oh, who are these people? Wrong answers only. And even Pokemon Company replied and was like, two professors? And it was like, well, are you telling us that they're not actually professors, or what? Like, are you just kind of playing along with the gag? Like, what does this mean? Because it's just really odd that they are not consistent with like what Pokemon's always been doing. Now, that would be also cool because maybe Pokemon is trying to break the mold here, like break their own formula and try to do really drastic things. I don't know, but it's just, we have two different schools. Like, are they just professors of the school and not like the Pokemon professor of research? It's very unclear. And then we have this other girl, this other trainer who's, I guess, your rival because you meet her early on and she challenges to a battle. And her description, you know, she really loves battling, not good at catching. Not sure why that's a thing. People tend to think, and I kind of agree with this, that, you know, that your experience in Legends Arceus, like you're trying to show her how to catch. Like she's just not used to catching Pokemon, but she's more than happy to like battle with them because that's all she studied at this school, whatever school she went to, the orange or grape one. But she looks pretty cool. Oh, speaking of which, the texture, the graphics on these characters, holy crap! Like that's unheard of. Like, when I first saw it on the trailer, I was really thrown off. I was like, "Whoa, this is not Pokemon." And then everything else about it is Pokemon, but it's just like these up close look of these people. It's like, man, they really put a lot of work into the details of like their coats, just their clothes in general, the facial hair, like just everything. And it's like, I don't know how I feel about this, because I don't mind my Pokemon games being cartoony. Like, I expect them to be cartoony. Look at Diamond and Pearl remakes. Look at Sword and Shield. Like, that's completely fine. Like, I get it. But to kind of go more adult here as far as the looks go, hey, it's cool. I just don't know how I feel about it as a Pokemon game. But, of course, I got to see more, and I got to play it in order to get my full final thoughts on it. It was just, the initial impression was, man, I'm a little thrown off by this. What else we got in the trailer? Before we hit the big things, we see stadiums, a couple stadiums, but one of them looks like a track, like a race track, so to speak. Very oval, reminds me of like Mario's Speedway, I think, from like Mario Kart or whatever. And then we also got these Pokemon centers, which people say they're diners. I don't know. I just didn't look closely enough, but it just looked like it looked like just like a computer console, kind of like just a station you go to, you press some things and it'll heal your Pokemon, or maybe it'll send items. It's your PC essentially. You can trade Pokemon from there. I don't know. People thought like, oh, they must be pit stops, because a lot of people are theorizing that this has a very racetrack heavy scene or theme to it. So I'm curious. I'm sure those have to be Pokemon, like little mini Pokemon Center stations spread through all out the open world of Pokemon. Like those are like your what did they call it in Elden Ring? Like the fire, the bonfires or whatever. Maybe those Dark Souls, they call them bonfires. I don't know if they call it the same anymore in Elden Ring, but that may be it. Like that's where you can save or do all this stuff, like your menu interface and stuff like that. Of course, I'm sure you still have access to your menu without using these things, but I feel like that might be like the main one. So it's just very interesting. Again, more questions than answers. So then let's get to talking about the Pokemon, as we got 5 Pokemon revealed in here. Let's talk about the three basic ones that you'll come across very early on in your venture. You got Smoliv, you got Lechonk, and then you got Palmy. Let's knock out Palmy out of the way first, because Palmy, out of the 3, is the least interesting to me. Not that his design is like, very basic. I don't think it's basic. I think it is a little neat. Obviously, I think it will have an evolution of some kind. It is an electric Pokemon. But it's the Pikachu clone, I suppose, of this generation. And it's just, I don't know. Just looking at it, you're like, oh, I know what you're supposed to be for this. Okay, cool, moving on. I'd rather just see what its evolution looks like. Of course, Palmy might just grow on me later, as like if I don't know, end up using it. But it's just, the initial impression is, okay, Palmy's there. What's next? I think the first Pokemon they showed off was Smoliv, which is a small olive. It's an olive Pokemon. Very simplistic design, but yet somehow the facial structure of it, the facial animations of it, and just, I don't know, just seeing it, I don't hate it. And I don't think it's the best Pokemon in the world, but it's cute, and I feel like it's gonna evolve into like this very fierce plant that's gonna be a high special attacker, maybe. I don't know, but there's just something about Smoliv that's very charming, and it's like, I want that on my team until I get a better grass Pokemon and put it back into PC. That's probably what end up happening, but Smoliv, very good. I approve. Again, it's a grass Pokemon, and that's like, I don't think we don't know anything about its evolution, or if it's going to have a secondary typing of any kind. Then, the Pokemon that won the internet, much like how Wooloo won the internet last year, this time around, we got Lechonk. First of all, great name. Initially, people think probably, it's got to be like a French thing, Le Chonk. Nope. I guess it has some sort of reference to a Spanish meal of some kind. Maybe it's Spanish. I might be wrong on that there. But it's very close sounding to the name, and it is made of pig. So Lechonk, there you go. A very, very basic. It looks like a piggy bank that it's about to cry. That's what it reminds me of. A piggy bank that is about to cry. And it's very cute. It's very adorable. I can see plushies of those things selling out fast. I'm very curious what the evolution form is going to be like, because again, a lot of people's theories are it's very much car themed, the whole racing theme to the game. So people are thinking, oh, if it's Lechonk, maybe it'll turn to something that'll be like a hog, like some sort of motorcycle or big vehicle tank kind of thing. Who knows? But Lechonk, definite winner, especially when it falls and tips over. It looks like such a helpless Pokemon, and I think that's what makes it appealing. Kind of like how Sobble has this appearance of like crying. You're like, oh, I want to protect it. Same thing with Lechonk. So it gives off that same vibe. But those three basic Pokemon, very good. I want to say that much simpler than even Sword and Shield, because I'm trying to think back. And what was like their initial reveals? And I know we had it's not Eldegoss, it's Floor. Oh my goodness, I don't want to mess up the name, but it's Eldegoss's pre-evolution form, which I think is a little bit more I don't want to say creative. I don't think creative is the right word, but just a little bit more detail to that design. They also showed off Choodle, which was adorable and just very unique in its appearance. And I think they also showed off Rookity, believe so, which is a cool looking bird, very much like what's Talonflame's, not Pick-a-Peck. I don't remember what Talonflame's first form is, but you get what I'm going with this. I think Sword and Shield had a much better Pokemon design, at least initial impression, than what we get with Scarlet and Violet. I think for me, because I also fell into it for the first couple like weeks. It's like, oh, Scarlet and Violet's awesome. Look at all these Pokemon. But I think it gets off that initial impression just because we're kind of in that honeymoon phase still with Scarlet and Violet, because it's brand new. We're excited for it, and we don't think back on like what the other previous generations have done. But I just wanted to throw it out there. I don't know. It was something that came across my mind. And then finally, they ended the trailer. Well, not finally ended. There's one more thing to touch on after this, but they did near the end of the trailer show off then the two legendaries, and we also did get their name, which, if I'm not butchering this, it is Koraidon and Miraidon, which I agree with a lot of people because I had the same first impression of their look. Very Digimon-like characters, but very cool, very unique. I'm not opposed to it. A lot of people are theorizing they're dragon types. I'm going to go on a limb. I want it on record here. I'm saying what the typing is right now. I believe Koraidon is Dark Rock and Miraidon is Steel Psychic. And they have a type that counters the other, but is then resisted by their secondary typing, which is pretty cool. So like, for example, if Koraidon has Crunch because it's a dark type Pokemon, well, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's been a while since I checked my typings, Steel resists dark, but Psychic is weak to dark. You get it? Miraidon, being a Steel type, can learn, I don't know, let's say Iron Tail. Okay, what was it? Iron Tail? Well, okay, dark Pokemon don't resist Steel type, but Rock is weak to Steel. So I don't know. I just feel like that kind of plays off well with typings there. But that's just my assumption. That is my guess, so to speak. But they're very cool looking Pokemon. And I did notice it with Miraidon, not so much with Koraidon. I don't know why it didn't hit me as obvious. But these Pokemon look like they're able to ride on them. Miraidon is very much like a hover bike if you look at the jets by its tail. And then Koraidon has on its throat, on chest, there's this thing that sticks out. It looks very much like a wheel. So I'm very curious, again, sticking to the theory of racing, or a racing theme, that these Pokemon, these legendaries they get, would you be able to ride on these Pokemon in this open world, which would be very cool. I doubt they'll give it to you at some point early in the game. That doesn't make any sense, or I can't really say that, but we're used to having the legendaries towards the end, so I'll be kind of curious to see when they fit the legendary Pokemon in, and if they make them difficult to capture, maybe. I don't know. But because we didn't get Zacian and Zamazenta until post-game of Sword and Shield. Like, you saw them in the game. You caught Eternatus before Zacian and Zamazenta. So, who knows when we'll get Koraidon and Miraidon in the game. If it's truly open world, I mean, you could probably stumble upon those Pokemon at any given point and be able to capture them. Maybe that'll be the first thing you do. Be crazy, but hey, who knows? Other than that, the last thing to touch on, we still were not given the gimmick for this generation, assuming that there is one, right? We had Z Crystals and Sun and Moon. We had Mega Evolution X and Y. We had Dynamax for Sword and Shield. But for this particular one, we're not sure yet. We don't know what's going on. There is a theory out there that there might be something to do with past and present, like kind of switching Pokemon maybe to past self or future self, because we do know Hisuian Pokemon are going to be in this game, and those are Pokemon of the past. But in going back to the trailer, the literal last thing of the trailer was like this very crystal mirror world going on, and a Pokeball just flies through it, and you hear like this sound, like it's like there's cracking of like glass somewhere of some kind. And I feel like that's part of the gimmick, and that might actually be like the beginning of whatever the next presentation we get for Scarlet and Violet, because they leave it off like that and just end it abruptly. And it'd be kind of interesting and cool to like go into the next trailer with that same image, with that same scene, and move forward with it and see where that goes, and if they go on to explain what that gimmick is. But yeah, it was just really odd. It was interesting, and it made a lot of people think. Again, this whole trailer gave a lot more questions than it did any answers. It was frustrating, but it was awesome at the same time. Again, I'm much more excited for Scarlet and Violet every time they show something off. I don't know if I'm going to like these more than Sword and Shield. I think it's a good bet that I am. They're putting a lot of work into this, it looks like, and I'm excited for this next Pokemon Presents. I know there hasn't been one announced yet, not even a word of a Nintendo Direct, although there are rumors somewhat confirmed that there should be a Nintendo Direct on June 29th. Who knows? We usually do get Pokemon stuff there, and then hopefully not too long after that, we do get a Pokemon Presents, which we should be getting info about other things too happening this year for Pokemon that's not just Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Because we did just get released the Pokemon N64 Pokemon Snap, if you have like the online expansion subscription. But, you know, could there be something else coming down the drain here with Pokemon? I don't know. Too many loose threads all over the place. But yeah, let me know what you think, guys. Whether you're listening on Spotify or you are watching this on YouTube, because Spotify has like I can put a question, like I can put, what are your thoughts about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet? Put it in there. Let me know what you think. Again, I would love to read responses on this podcast too, so hey, feel free to do so. If you want to write me emails as well, I'm going to put my contact info in the show notes, and I'll repeat it also here at the end of this episode. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't think I have much else to say about Scarlet and Violet. So, of course, without further ado, let's go ahead and wrap up this episode with the Pokedex Trivia, where I read to you a Pokedex entry from any Pokemon. And the Pokedex entry will come from any Pokemon game. I do not tell you what game the entry comes from. You just have to guess what the Pokemon is based off what I read to you. Although I will say this Pokemon is fairly easy to guess when I read the description. I tried to pick the description that doesn't completely give it away or doesn't use its name. But yeah, and I do give you a few clues along the way. You don't have a whole lot of time to figure out what it is, but plenty of time at least to kind of maybe make a best guess. So without further ado, here is your Pokedex trivia of this episode. It gushes fire and poisonous gases from its nostrils. Its dung is an explosive substance and can be put to various uses. That's right. I will repeat that in just a moment. I will tell you, it's a dual type Pokemon, so it's got two typings. I feel like though the description does give it away a little bit, but again, I try to do the best one. It has only one ability. Its height is 6 foot 7 inches or 2 meters for the metric folks out there. It weighs 467.4 pounds and or 212 kilograms. And I'm trying to think what else I can give you here. It belongs in 2 egg groups. And I don't think there's much more I can really tell you without really giving away the answer here. So I'm going to read the description one more time. It gushes fire and poisonous gases from its nostrils. Its dung is an explosive substance and can be put to various uses. All right, got your answer? Lock it in. Hopefully your guess is right. If you said Torkoal, you're completely wrong, because I was trying to think. It gushes fire and poisonous gases, and I thought of obviously what the answer is. And I go, is there another Pokemon you can mistake that is? Maybe Torkoal, but you never really see anything coming out of its nose. It doesn't even have a nose. The only other Pokemon that it could be is, of course, another type of turtle Pokemon, which is Turtonator. Very cool name, by the way. I love the name of this Pokemon. I even love the design of this Pokemon. It is the Blast Turtle Pokemon, Pokemon number 776. It is a Fire and Dragon type. It has the ability Shell Armor. TCG card was very cool, by the way, because if you ever did an attack on it, it would leave 8 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon. Very good. It belongs in the Monster and Dragon Egg grouping. And let's see if there is any trivia for this. There's only one bullet point of trivia that's not about its name. Turtonator can be seen as a counterpart to Drampa. Both are Dragon-type Pokemon with the same base stat total. They also share the same stat values, but with the exception of speed. These values are assigned to different stats. While Turtonator is exclusive to Sun, Ultra Sun, and Sword, Drampa is exclusive to Pokemon Moon, Ultra Moon, and Shield. And that is a fair assumption. They are counterparts of each other because they are also version exclusives. That's usually how that ends up working when it comes to certain Pokemon. I'm trying to think what would be a good example of another one? I'm sure, like Zangoose and Viper. If you go back Red and Blue, I guess Vulpix and Growlithe, but I don't know if that's really the same lines that they're kind of going on with here. But you get the idea, Drampa, Turtonator, the dragon Pokemon, basic dragon Pokemon that you can only get in one version or the other. I wonder what lore is behind that. I gotta look into that, because that'd be really interesting if they actually have some sort of lore connection to it. But yeah, a Turtonator, very cool Pokemon. I love it. I love the design. Maybe I'm just biased towards Turtle because of Squirtle. Who knows? But I do remember having a Turtonator deck for quite a while on the TCG Online software, and I loved it. It's a cool fire Pokemon to use. Okay, that's pretty much wraps up this episode, guys. Thank you again for your patience, for your time, for still sticking around, being here with me. It means the world to me. Again, looking at, how many people listen to my episodes and whatnot, and the people that reach out, people that leave the comments, man, it brings a lot of happiness in general. Not to sound cliche, but just, again, that motivation. And I'm sorry, I know it didn't account for the last couple months, but COVID, doctorate, a lot of things happen. I should be back on track now. I have ideas for at least the next 2 episodes, and hopefully I can kind of pick up the pace here. I don't want to promise anything, but I do want to see if I can try to maybe put out 2 episodes a week for a little while, just to kind of catch up on a lot of different topics. And again, these episodes are meant just to be fairly short, half-hour long, just get straight to the point. Plus, I don't have a co-host anyway to kind of bounce back and forth ideas off of. So if you're asking, man, why did he go talk so fast? Why did he go through all this information? It's so short. You can expand to an hour. Listen to the other podcasts. They have co-hosts. I don't. Am I looking for one? I don't know. Maybe. I'd be open to it. But I just mainly do this because I enjoy talking about Pokemon. I love talking about different types of things Pokemon, all games Pokemon. So yeah, that's why I'm here. Again, thank you so much for everything, guys. I appreciate your support, and I look forward to talking to you next time about everything and anything Pokemon.